Because whatever you practice feeling, you're feeling most of the time. And that feeling could be guilt, but you're so used to it, you wouldn't even know it's guilt. It just feels like you.
Are most people practicing a feeling, or are they just reacting to how they feel?
Well, they're reacting to their external environment.
What's happening?
Or they're reacting to some stray thought in their mind, and every thought produces a chemical. So if they have an unhappy thought, they feel unhappy. If they have a judgmental thought, it produces chemicals that makes you feel polarized, right? So
how much does one thought change your chemical body?
Oh, that's an interesting question. So let's just let me put this on hold
okay,
here.
Yes.
So the stronger the emotions that we feel from the problems and conditions in our life, the more altered we feel inside of us, the more we pay attention to what's causing it outside of us. So if you have an event in your life, an experience in your life that has a strong emotional charge to it, and you don't feel like your normal self, you feel this alarm system switch on. You're going to narrow your focus on the cause, and the brain's going to take a snapshot, and that's called a long-term memory, right? So then what people don't know is that every time they think about that event, they're producing the same chemistry in their brain and body as if the event was occurring.
In that moment.
In that moment. So the highly charged event is actually producing the emotion, and the body is so objective that it doesn't know the difference between the real experience that's creating the emotion and the emotion that the person is fabricating by thought alone. The body's believing. It's so objective, it's believing it's in the same environmental experience. So the highly charged emotional events, some people think of their ex, and the thought of that person
makes them sick.
Makes them feel out of balance. So all you need is an image and an emotion. A thought and a feeling, a stimulus and a response, and you're conditioning your body emotionally into the past. So now, the memories, and this is just not in the brain now, it's in the body, okay? So now, that thought of that person is actually creating a response in the body that's consuming the body's energy for growth and repair, consuming the body's energy to create, because in survival, it's not a time to create. In survival, it's time to run, fight, and hide. So the problem is that it becomes a subconscious program.
I believe that who you are shapes how you see the world around you. Let's dive into that idea a bit more. Your personality is like a mix of your thoughts, actions, and feelings. So the person you are right now, watching this, has created the life you're living. So, if you want to change your life, you've got to change yourself fundamentally. That means tweaking how you think. It means being aware of your habits and behaviors, even the ones you don't realize you have, and working to change them. You've also got to check in with your emotions. Are they holding you back, tying you to the past? If so, it might be time to let them go. Over the years, I've noticed that a lot of people try to make big changes in their lives without changing themselves. But that doesn't usually work. You've got to become someone new. Most people stick to the same old thoughts, choices, and behaviors, which just leads to the same old experiences. It's like they're running on autopilot, following the same patterns over and over again. There's a saying in brain science: nerve cells that fire together wire together. Basically, the more you repeat something, the more it becomes ingrained in your brain. By the time we hit our mid-30s, we're pretty much operating on autopilot, like a computer program running in the background. So, when people want to change, they're only using a small part of their conscious mind. They can try to think positively, but if those old negative programs are still running in the background, it's an uphill battle. To really change, you've got to dig deep and reprogram your brain. That means doing some inner work, finding a quiet moment to disconnect from the outside world and just be present. No distractions, no worries about the future or regrets about the past. Just you, in the moment. That's where the magic happens. After studying countless brain scans, I've come to think of this as getting beyond yourself. When you can disconnect from your old way of thinking and being, you're ready to create something new. So, what kind of thoughts do you want to fill your mind with? What kind of actions do you want to take? By rehearsing these new behaviors, you're literally rewiring your brain to make them feel natural. Now let's talk about breaking those old thought patterns. It's simple, really. Your brain is like a record of everything you've experienced up to this point. It's a reflection of your past. So, to change your thoughts, you've got to consciously choose new ones. Just taking a moment to think about what you're thinking about can be a game changer. And remember, most of your thoughts are just reruns anyway, so why not pick some new ones? Feelings and emotions are like echoes of our past experiences. We remember things better when we remember how they made us feel. So, when most people wake up in the morning, they start thinking about their problems. These problems are tied to certain people, things, times, and places. As soon as they start dwelling on these problems, they're living in the past. Emotions come into play here. The body reacts to these emotions, whether they're from real experiences or just thoughts. Thoughts are like the language of the brain, while feelings are the language of the body. How you think and feel shapes your whole mood. So, if your mind is stuck in the past, your whole state of being follows suit. But here's the thing. You have a choice. You can either be guided by your hopes for the future or by memories of the past. When you decide to make a change, it's not easy. Breaking old habits feels strange and uncomfortable. But that discomfort is where the real change happens. Most people's bodies are used to the same old routine. They'd rather hold on to familiar feelings, even if they're negative, than risk stepping into the unknown. When you start feeling uncomfortable, your body might try to pull you back into your old ways. It'll throw up all sorts of excuses and doubts. But if you listen to those voices and believe them, you'll just end up making the same choices, following the same patterns, and feeling the same way. Moving from your old self to a new one isn't just a mental shift. It's a whole biological and chemical process. It's like saying goodbye to your old self and welcoming in something completely new. Embracing the unknown is scary, but it's also the key to creating a future you want. So, close your eyes and imagine that future you desire. Let yourself really feel it. When you do this, you're activating the creative parts of your brain. You start envisioning yourself in that future scene, and it feels real. This sparks a chain reaction in your body and mind, changing your biology and opening up new possibilities. By combining a clear intention with strong emotions, you're rewriting your own story. You're no longer limited by your past. You're creating something entirely new. And that's where the magic happens. Most people tend to wait for certain things to happen before they feel a certain way. They wait for wealth to feel abundant, for success to feel empowered, or for a new relationship to feel loved. But here's the catch. By waiting for these external things to change how they feel inside, they end up feeling like they're missing something their whole lives. But what if you flip the script? What if you woke up feeling grateful, empowered, complete, and limitless? Imagine feeling like everything you desire has already happened. It sounds pretty good, right? The trick is to shift your focus from waiting for things to happen to creating the feelings you want right now. It might sound simple, but it's powerful. It's about being conscious of how your mind works and taking control of it. Think about it. Haven't you ever had a wild idea pop into your head? Maybe you wondered what it would be like to be happy, in love, or wealthy. That simple question activates your brain's creative center, sparking a flurry of activity in your frontal lobe, the CEO of your brain. Your brain starts pulling together bits of knowledge and past experiences to paint a picture of what could be. And if you're passionate about it, you start feeling those emotions as if they're real. Suddenly, you're consumed by this vision, and nothing can talk you out of it. From there, you start making plans, setting goals, and taking action. Each step you take reinforces those positive emotions, propelling you closer to your desired future. But you've also got to be aware of the negative thoughts holding you back. Write them down, confront them, and don't let them control you. When you bring these thoughts into the light, they lose their power over you. This simple exercise of metacognition, observing your own thoughts, gives you control over your mind. You become the observer, not just the program running on autopilot. And that's where true transformation begins. Let's get real with ourselves. Take a moment to write down the habits you need to kick. Are you always complaining, making excuses, or blaming others? Be honest with yourself and list them out. Think about the situations or people that bring out the worst in you. Maybe there are certain people or times when you tend to feel triggered. It's okay to steer clear of those environments to avoid falling into old patterns. But those lingering emotions from the past, they're like baggage weighing you down. When you start feeling things like suffering, guilt, unworthiness, or despair, you're stuck in the past. And when you're stuck in the past, you can't see the future clearly. We've seen it in brain scans. When you dwell on negative emotions, you're literally rewiring your brain for the worse. Your thoughts and emotions are connected, and the stronger the emotion, the more your brain fixates on it, creating a memory. Our memories aren't always accurate. Research shows that half of what we remember from the past isn't even true. Sometimes we embellish our memories to fit our limited beliefs, trapping ourselves in a cycle of negativity. We're living in a time where just knowing isn't enough. We need to know how. That's why we're spreading the word through workshops all over the globe. Now let's dive into the heart-brain connection. When we're stressed, our body goes into overdrive to get back to balance. Picture this. Someone cuts you off in traffic and bam, you're flooded with adrenaline. It's like your body's emergency mode kicks in. But here's the thing. While short-term stress is normal, we humans have a knack for turning it into a habit. We start using problems and people in our lives to fuel our addiction to those stress hormones. Ever found yourself glued to bad news or drama? That's your brain craving that rush of chemicals. And the more attention and energy you give to these stressors, the more power you give them over you. This constant state of stress messes with your brain waves, making them all over the place. And guess what? Your heart follows suit. When your heart's racing like you're facing a predator, it becomes erratic. And when your heart's out of sync, you lose trust in yourself and make poor choices. But here's the silver lining. You can train your brain to be more coherent. By practicing techniques that calm your mind and body, you can regain control and make decisions that serve you best. It's all about retraining your brain to work for you, not against you. Can we train our hearts to beat more harmoniously? You bet we can. We've conducted extensive studies, and let me tell you, age or health status doesn't matter. Whether you're old, sick, out of shape, or whatever else, you can still benefit from this. But hey, let's lighten the mood a bit. Life's too short not to find joy in the little things, right? I'm just a regular guy who believes in taking time for himself. Self-care is key to building a bright future. Surrounding myself with creative minds and beauty is my way of recharging. Now, don't get me wrong, life isn't all sunshine and rainbows. Sure, I believe in living in a state of bliss, but growth comes from overcoming challenges. Balancing my personal life with managing a big team and running events isn't always easy, but I've learned not to take challenges personally. Instead, I see them as opportunities for growth. By mastering my reactions and focusing on inner work, I reclaim my power and keep moving forward. For me, it's like going through an initiation process. I call it initiation, and I love it. But I make a conscious effort not to fall into victimhood. Instead, I try to approach challenges with a broader perspective. Someone, somewhere, has likely faced a similar problem, and with enough digging, I'll find the solution. Then, It's all about applying that knowledge and making it my own, adjusting behaviors, experiencing the results, and feeling the emotions that come with it. This is how I internalize and embody the truth of what I've learned. So let's embrace every challenge as an opportunity for growth, knowing that within each obstacle lies a lesson waiting to be learned. Let's cultivate a mindset of possibility and potential, igniting the flames of curiosity and innovation within us. If this conversation has sparked something within you, if it has resonated with your soul and stirred your spirit, then I urge you to join us on this journey of transformation and discovery. Subscribe to our channel, dive into the plethora of content waiting for you, and continue exploring the endless horizons of knowledge and wisdom.